That kind of ammo going through a neck, it should have went through and came out the other side. Am I wrong?
No.
And if it had gone through and out the other side, then there should have been pooling. Not just on the one side, but on the other side as well. Actually, the pooling probably would have been more on the right side. And then upon exit, there should have been spray. There were people that were sitting behind him. Did they catch anybody with, blood on them?
Her tone wasn't playful. It wasn't messy gossip energy. It was that heavy, sharp calm that always comes before a storm. You could hear the weight in her voice when she said they really think we're blind. But I see what's going on with Charlie Kirk's widow. And that was all it took within minutes. Comment sections exploded, timelines caught fire, and people who had once defended Erica Kirk started looking at her photos with a whole new kind of suspicion. Because when Jaguar Wright speaks, she doesn't whisper, she detonates, and this time she claimed the smiling widow America felt sorry for might have been acting on a script written long before the tragedy ever happened. Everyone remembered the moment Charlie Kirk was shot public event flashing. Lights, chaos, and then the eerie calm that followed. But what burned into people's minds wasn't the gunfire. It was Erica's reaction after, instead of disappearing from the spotlight, she stepped into it, smiling through tears that never actually fell. Giving speeches that felt too polished for someone who just lost her husband, Jaguar didn't hold back. She called it corporate grief. The kind you perform when cameras are rolling and the brand can't afford a breakdown, and she wasn't alone. Screenshots flooded in Erika at the memorial standing center stage, fireworks bursting behind her face. Flawless posture, perfect voice, steady as she forgave the shooter. Jaguar said what everyone else was too scared to admit, that wasn't forgiveness, that was rehearsed. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Jaguar Wright said. She wasn't the only one who noticed the pattern. Dave Chappelle did too. According to her, Dave had been quietly watching the story unfold, connecting dots. The media ignored, he allegedly told close friends that nothing about Charlie and Erica's relationship ever felt organic. You think they met by chance? He asked during a set that fans later dissected online. Nah, somebody introduced them. Somebody needed her in that position. That one line cracked open a new layer of conspiracy. Suddenly, it wasn't just about a grieving wife. It was about a power move that might have been in play for years. Jaguar Wright took that thread and ran with it. She said sources inside Turning Point. USA Charlie's own organization claimed Erika had been trained for leadership months before his death. Trained, that word alone set the internet ablaze, according to Jaguar. There were private coaching sessions, image consultants, even PR strategists, who had been prepping her for a bigger role. People who had worked under Charlie started whispering about strange board meetings. He wasn't invited to donor dinners where Erika was suddenly the focus, instead of the guest, one insider allegedly told Jaguar. It was like they were building her throne while he was still alive when that quote hit X. Formerly Twitter, it went viral within an hour. What made it worse was the timeline. Jaguar reminded everyone that just days before Charlie's death, he'd reportedly turned down a $150 million donation from a group of billionaires tied to his political network. She emphasized the number slowly, $150 million, calling it the price tag for his integrity. And then she dropped the hammer. He said no. A week later, he's gone. And who's shaking hands with those same people? Now Erica Kirk. The audience went silent in her live stream. You could feel the collective shiver through the comments, because whether true or not, the story sounded too perfect. To ignore a man who refused to sell out, replaced by a widow who seemed born. Ready to say yes, that's the part that really hit home for Jaguar's audience. She didn't just talk politics, she talked about human behavior when you lose your husband. She said you don't schedule board meetings, you don't call donors, you don't smile through fireworks, you collapse. But Erika didn't collapse. She rose fast, too fast, the way Jaguar painted it. Erika wasn't mourning. She was moving every press appearance, every polished interview. Every calm, calculated soundbite looked less like heartbreak and more like rollout. It's giving Succession. Jaguar said it's a sign that she was ready. Then the footage resurfaced. Fans slowed down clips from the memorial, analyzing every blink and breath in one. Erika glances at the camera, pauses right before her line about forgiveness, and slightly smiles just enough to unsettle anyone watching. The comments were brutal. That's not grief, she's hitting her mark. This looks like performance art. Even journalists started questioning the optics, wondering why the FBI footage surrounding Charlie's death still hadn't been fully released. Jaguar capitalized on the silence, claiming the reason we hadn't seen more was because the real story wasn't about a random shooter. It was about control of money, control of image, control of legacy behind the scenes. Candace Owens, once close to Charlie, allegedly supported Jaguar's theory, telling followers that powerful donors had staged interventions to pressure Charlie before his death. But now, with Jaguar Wright and Dave Chappelle both speaking up, the internet has reached a boiling point. Threads turned into investigations. Fans compared Erica's speeches before and after. His death, same tone, same posture, same rehearsed smile. It was chilling, and that's when Jaguar Wright said the line that froze everyone. You don't need a killer when you've already written the ending. The chat exploded, the hashtags flew, and the world that once praised Erica Kirk started watching her every move, waiting to see if that mask would finally crack. But as the cameras rolled and the pressure mounted, she didn't flinch. She just smiled, and that's what made Jaguar Wright's warning even louder. Because if what she's saying is true, then Charlie Kirk's story isn't over, it's just entering the part nobody was supposed to see. When Jaguar Wright came back online the next night, the energy was different. The jokes were gone, the lighting dimmer, her face tighter, she said. She'd been sent something footage that was never supposed to see daylight. I got the clip, she whispered, eyes darting toward the side of the screen. The one they deleted from the memorial stream within seconds. Thousands of viewers flooded her live. What they saw wasn't edited or polished. It was a raw backstage angle from Erica Kirk's memorial speech. The clip showed her stepping off stage right after her tearless forgiveness speech. You could hear her whisper something to a staff member, her mic still faintly hot. Jaguar paused, the clip zoomed in, replayed it 3 times. Then she said it. She said that went perfectly. The chat erupted, that one phrase that went perfectly set. Social media on fire, people started splicing it into TikToks, memes, and voiceovers. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was proof of performance, Jaguar Wright said. She wasn't surprised. She claimed a source from Turning Point USA told her weeks ago that Erica had rehearsed that speech multiple times the night before the memorial. Not in private grief, but in front of her media team. Allegedly, there were lighting checks, cue timing, even a sound engineer adjusting the background music for maximum emotion. Jaguar looked directly into the camera and said that woman wasn't mourning. She was debuting. Fans in the chat kept typing debuting. What Jaguar leaned in closer and said, "Power, that's what." She was debuting. She then dropped another bomb that had even Dave Chappelle's followers whispering. According to Jaguar, the same billionaire circle that had once offered Charlie Kirk $150 million had contacted Erika within 48 hours of his death. 48 hours, she repeated. That's not condolence, that's confirmation. She said one of those donors sent a private jet to Arizona to meet with her in person, offering what they called a continuation plan for Turning Point USA. The way Jaguar described it, that wasn't a business move, it was a coronation. They didn't just lose a spokesman. She said they already had a replacement lined up in heels. That line went viral overnight by morning threads on Reddit, and X were pulling receipts, old clips of Erika talking politics before her marriage resurfaced, clips where she echoed the same billionaire talking points Charlie had once publicly rejected. How does that happen? Jaguar asked, you marry the rebel, but sound exactly like the machine he fought against. Even Dave Chappelle weighed in again during one of his smaller club sets, saying it's funny how grief works when there's money on the table. The audience laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was that uneasy laugh that comes when the truth cuts too close. Then came the forensic side. Jaguar Wright said she'd spoken with 2 former investigators who questioned the cleanliness of Charlie Kirk's crime scene. She described their doubts in detail. No visible splatter, no exit wound pattern, no contamination, no spray on nearby attendees. She said the angle didn't match the supposed shooter's location, and that the only clear evidence connecting Tyler Robinson to the weapon was trace DNA that could have been planted. Jaguar didn't say this to prove anything, she said it to underline how neatly the story was packaged. It's always the same play, she warned. Find a face frame, a narrative. Silence the rest. But the darkest turn came when she talked about the footage that disappeared. Jaguar said there was a second camera feed from the rooftop of the venue that day, one that mysteriously glitched. Seconds before the shooting, she said, insiders claimed Erika personally approved the final security footage release, cutting out the parts that showed movements near the donor section of the event. Why would a widow have that authority? She asked, shaking her head. You can't edit your husband's murder scene unless someone gives you power to the chat. Went dead quiet. People didn't even comment. They just watched her stare into the screen like she was daring someone to prove her wrong. Then Candace Owens re-entered the conversation. She posted a cryptic message saying, "The truth always leaks when you silence the wrong people within hours." Jaguar Wright screenshotted it and tagged her saying, "We see you were not letting this go." Now it wasn't just entertainment anymore. It felt like a movement forming. Viewers started demanding official statements, tagging Erica Kirk, the FBI, and Turning Point USA in posts, asking why there were so many unanswered questions, and every time Erika went live, the comments were flooded with one phrase that went perfectly. It had become her curse in one of her last live streams. Jaguar Wright summed it up perfectly. She said when a woman smiles at the funeral of the man who made her famous, "You better ask who she's smiling for." She stared straight into the camera and said she wasn't backing down, no matter how much heat came her way. "You can't scare me with lawsuits." She said you can't cancel the truth behind her. The screen flashed with paused clips of Erika's memorial speech, the pyrotechnics, the calm face, the perfectly timed tears that never fell. By that point, even people who didn't believe in conspiracies started questioning what they were seeing. It wasn't about politics anymore. It was about humanity, grief, and the eerie overlap between performance and reality. The image of Erica Kirk standing under fireworks, smiling through applause for her dead husband, had burned itself into everyone's mind. And when Jaguar Wright signed off that night, she didn't end with drama or yelling. She just whispered, "Watch what happens next," because they can control headlines, but they can't control energy, and that was it. The live ended, the screen went black, but the story didn't stop because, whether people believed Jaguar Wright or not, one thing was clear. Erica Kirk's perfect performance had turned into the perfect question mark, and no matter how many times she smiled for the cameras, the world wasn't seeing a widow anymore. They were seeing a woman standing in the shadow of a secret that might be darker than anyone dared to imagine.